said from here forward is going to be on the replay. So just to let you know. Okay. I can't believe you just said that because wow. I don't know what's going on, but something's going on. Here, let me find it. Let me make sure we're on. Let's see here. Huh. Wait a minute. Oh, there it is. Okay, it just came on. So I will tag you on Facebook.
Right.
Is that you? Yes. Camilla, Aurea, KumaRa.
Camilla, Aurea, KumaRa.
Camilla. I said it. I said the first two right. Camilla, Aurea,
KumaRa.
KumaRa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so bad with names. So we had a late start, everybody.
Aurea is like golden. No.
Golden?
Aurea, the name comes from golden. I realized that.
Really?
After I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gold. Yeah. What is the gosh, know these things. Gold. I can't remember right now. I can't remember anything. I'm just kind of flustered because my modem went out. And luckily I had a backup modem and I was able to work it all out. And then when I tried to get onto Zoom, it wouldn't let me get on. So something's going on. I don't know what it is. My understanding is that comet that came last month, it left yesterday. So we had a show about that, and the lady that was on talked about the energies that it carried, which are primarily transformation. And then she did some etymology on the word comet, and she said come et, right? And so there's all these things. And then what I noticed today, God, I'm getting chills. What I noticed today was that this started about the 15th of February, I think.
Yeah.
So what's today? 21st. Yeah, in 2020, 21, and 22. I know these days are going to be powerful, but so like last night, yesterday, I spent probably a collective 5 hours in meditation, and I never do that. And I kept thinking, what is this? What is this? What's coming in? And then through the night, I had visions and dreams. You mentioned golden, Aurea, right?
Yeah.
I kept seeing all these golden beings. Yeah. And some of the golden beings were us. They weren't just aspects of us. They were actually us walking around, and we were going to come into that awareness. And so many things that we think are important, we're not going to be looking at, to include our own survival. This is what I was getting last night. I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? Because a higher truth was coming out that will blow everybody away. Nobody knows what's happening. Nobody knows. Not one person. And then I was like, okay, well, then what happens then? And I just saw like all these different timelines, and everybody basically chose their timeline.
Yeah. And
I thought, wow, that's trippy. I thought we're all going to the same place, but I guess in some kind of multiplicity we are. So let me formally, let's see how long are we in here. Okay, so let me formally introduce. We don't do everything professionally here, but Camilla, Aurea, KumaRa.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and welcome to the show. Welcome to Soul Speaks 5D. I've seen you for a long time out there, and we really try to find people that, in addition to the people that come on regularly, we try to find people that we've never had on, that have been doing the work and serving humanity for a long time. A lot of them are women like you that are very quiet and kind of reserved, but they do this magic every day and they share it and people follow them. It's a very concrete, concentrated kind of groundswell, type of movement that I think is really what's at the center of all this. Yeah. But I know I had seen you several times over the years, and then I think I saw a couple of videos that you did. Did you do a couple of? Yeah. And it was 6 weeks ago, and I can't remember what it was. I thought, oh wow, she's got it. So So really, you know, I just wanted to invite you on. I was really happy that you came. Thank you for coming in and sharing space with us and
Thank you.
honoring us with your presence. And I'm excited to get to know you. Have you always been this weird, or did you have a wake-up experience?
I love that question. Actually, I thought about it today because I had a feeling you would ask it. Um, I, I honestly cannot say that it was a singular experience because I always felt this. I felt a bit old during my whole childhood, that I carried some kind of wisdom or knowing. And so I felt a bit different.
Hmm.
And then in my teenage years, I had some spiritual experiences, and I was introduced to some esoteric material. Also, I did the regular thing with, you know, a little bit of church and so on. I sang in school choir and so on. But I had this experience when I was 19, uh, and last year in what would be in high school. I'm Swedish, by the way, so I live in Sweden, so we have it a bit different with the school system. And so I did this musical as part of school, and it happened. It was Jesus Christ Superstar, the
Oh yeah.
musical. And during we had the performance, uh, I had a very strong spiritual experience. It was
Really?
about, you know, when a lot of with a large group singing together, and it was with these four tones at the same time. I don't know that word in English. Four tones at the same time, and it's
Yeah, like
really,
harmonizing.
yeah, it's a perfect harmony, and it's really intense, and the crescendo, and then the friend who played the Jesus part. I remember saying afterwards that he actually became Jesus in that moment.
Wow.
So I don't know if I use the word channel, but I experienced that really we have this energy through us right now. And this
Mhm.
was in 1999. And that was my first experience of us being conduits of higher energies, I think. And it took a while
Wow.
for me to really accept my path because I had these healing abilities in my early 20s. But eventually I listened to my soul, and I, uh, I changed my first choice of profession, and then I kind of early on went into first the psychology. I studied psychosynthesis therapy, transpersonal psychology, and then
Wow.
I
Now this is in
found
your early, is this in your, there's a little bit of a lag. I'm not trying to interrupt you. Is this in your early 20s as well?
yeah, it was I was
Okay.
25
Okay.
when I started the psychosynthesis therapy education.
Wow.
And at that time,
Well,
I was a bit afraid of showing people who I truly was and my gifts and
wow. At 20 in the 20s. So let me ask you this, because I want to get every little piece of it. Because I know it'll help some people, even though it didn't happen at the same time. They might be able to relate to how it went down for you. So you participated in the Jesus Christ Superstar play at 19. You your eyes, your third eye, your sensitivities kind of open up. You see some things, which is common, but most of the people that come on the show, this happened to them at 40 or
yeah, I'm
50,
42
right?
now.
So, okay, you're 42. So you're 19 years old at the time. Now, my question is, within 5 or 6 years, wow, I'm getting like a really big download right now or something. But so over the next 5 or 6 years, right, you're about to go into these studies at 25 years old, the transpersonal psychology. which we know is kind of a metaphysical slant. So you're already directed that way. What happened in those 5 or 6 years? Did you have certain, like galactic emissaries or elementals or divine essences come in and tell you, hey, this is what's going on. You're a healer. Here's, whatever information they gave you. Did you have that phase?
I would say that during those years, I tried to be a regular person. I went to university and I did all the regular stuff. I went to the parties and explored that. But at the same time, I was, what you say, I was spiritual in the closet.
I think we
So
all were until like
I had
2012.
this great longing to explore and to dig into that longing that I felt, the truth within me, and I was mostly into angels and kind of Gnostic Christianity. I read some books. I did healing classes because my mother woke up spiritually during the 90s.
Really?
So I did the Reiki healing class at our home, in my parents' home, with this amazing Reiki teacher from the US, Doreen. And so I went through the early 20s with being both more of a ordinary student, and then I continued the spiritual searching, because I was a searcher more at that time, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so do you feel like that you got direction, or you were just basically communicating with your soul? Like knowing what to do?
I received direction, and especially around 2003, 2004, those years, I received very strong guidance that I needed to redirect my path, because I was almost finishing my studies, and I started getting symptoms like I think I had 2 or 3 panic attacks, and it was different stress symptoms that I got physically. And so I went to some different healers or a medium who's channeled. And at that time, I just felt that my soul and my guides were like banging with, the big something in my head. Like, you need to redirect your path. You need to move into who you truly are now. So I dropped it. I just dropped. I couldn't continue with what I was doing. And so I turned within, and what is it that I am supposed to do now? But I couldn't really imagine myself working as a healer or working as a channel at that time. It wasn't possible in my mind to think that I would work like it. So the psychology path and the transpersonal psychology path was a bit of a safe container.
Right. Like a bridge almost, I think.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
yes.
You were like 1 foot in and 1 foot, one here and one there.
Yeah.
So, but now as this was happening, when did your healing abilities come to the surface, and when did you start using them, and how did that happen?
The first Reiki course was when I was 21, and I think I already experienced that I had. It was easy for me, but it wasn't actually until I think about it was in 2007 when I was 27. I learned to read the Akashic records,
Oh,
and
cool.
that
Okay.
became like the big opening door for me. It was I tried to sit down. Oh well, we'll see. I don't know if this gonna work for me, and it did the first time. It just was like opening a channel and then the water like this.
Wow. So quite a few people have come on the show and talked about how they connected to the Akashic or how they connect to the Akashic. And again, the reason I ask these questions is because I know there's somebody out there right now that tomorrow is going to have the experience that you described. So it might help them, or it might even open up code, the encoding that we have that we give each other. But how did that happen? I mean, I know it happens different for everybody, but how did you end up in the Akashic records? Were you told by these guides you're going to go to the Akashic records, or you just find yourself there one day?
It is also a story connected with my family. It was like this. My brother, he is 3 years older than me. He also had a turning point in his life at the same time as I had. So he
Wow.
also dropped his career and everything that he did and started another path. And he was out traveling. And he met this woman in Egypt who was a teacher in teaching how to read the Akashic records. And
Mhm.
she was American, and she had a friend who was Australian, I think. And they were teaching this class, opening up the Akashic records with a traditional prayer, a Mayan prayer. And it was
Mm.
translated to English. And he invited
Wow.
them to Sweden to us. So they had this course for just a few of us in our home, and they had this course.
Wow.
So I learned from them, and the first time I did it, it just worked for me. It was the key for me. It was the key, and then later, I didn't need to use the key or the prayer anymore. The channel was open, and then all of these energies just continued to come and becoming more and more diverse, like galactically and so on. But that was
Well,
a few years later.
there's so many fascinating aspects to your story. Like, I don't even know where to start. But we have, like, even yesterday, we had our friend from Sydney on, Elsa Dillon, and she has 8 or 10, I think 8 kids.
Yeah.
Her and her husband had over like
Wow.
12-year period. Anyway, the whole family is awake.
Yeah.
The whole family is communicating with their ET aspects, and their whole family is actually even communicating with a parallel Egyptian family that has all the family members. So, but that's a little bit different. Yours is a situation where your mother woke up in the 90s, you woke up in the 90s, your brother woke up in the 90s. You're not actually, you know, I guess, well, I guess you would have been still at home, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so,
I
but
mean,
how did that work out?
we had this in our home through our
Uh-huh.
mother, and she took us to different, if we had some trouble of some kind in our teenage years, like a physical or we weren't feeling well, she took us to
Uh-huh.
these very special persons at that time. And but it wasn't until in our early 20s that me and my brother kind of got into this path, because he
Hmm.
he too tried to do the high achiever
Oh,
kind of, but
be
just
be
for a few
normal.
years, just for a few years.
Yeah.
And the same for me, and so I guess you could say that we could jump on very early. We had an early start into this path. So I mean, I've been working spiritually actively working with clients and so on for 10 years now. And then before that, years of no, training and so on. So it's kind of like going
Okay.
into it early.
And right. And so, do you and your brother and your mother have any type of like past or future memories or any type of ancestral recollections or that you've worked together before or anything like that?
Yeah, in different constellations. Uh, I have some memories together with my mother, and I think she has with my brother, and it's different constellations, but still we are all different, and we have different purposes, I think.
Right.
I am probably the most cosmic one
Yeah.
of us.
E.T. Yeah,
Yeah.
you look like it. You look like it. Well, that's it. That's interesting too, what you said about the reference to the constellations, because as this goes deeper and deeper, we're never going to understand this with just the human mind. But but there's more stuff coming in, and it doesn't like teach us in the way we're used to be taught. It's more of instinct and innate, and code gets turned on. But one of them is the stories of each constellation. It's like each constellation has its own story as I look at it. And then like if you look at the comet, for instance, or I think we just moved into Pisces, and Saturn is going to be lined up with Pisces for 3 years or something. But and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but what from my understanding is with the people that I talk to, that each one of these celestial bodies, to include constellations, carries a certain energy. And when we're in the line of that energy, it influences us. It doesn't necessarily create our future, but it influences us. And I was just curious because astrology has been a lot of different versions, I guess. But it's there. It's like a map or something, is the way I look at it. I'm just curious with your experience and everything that you've, the training and everything, how much attention do you pay to the celestial bodies and that type of thing? Do you watch for what's showing up, or don't even worry about it?
I would say it like this. I have never actually been drawn to astrology that much. Just a little bit when I was young, but not that much. But I realized that the guidance I receive within to do things certain dates, or that, oh, we are
Right.
working with this energy now. Oh, like this Sunday, I had a workshop and I asked who are with us today, and it was from Orion. And so we worked with Orion and different stars in the Orion constellation and the Orion's belt. And then after,
Crazy.
I heard that, oh, Orion is very active right now, and the comet is actually moving through Orion
See,
on Sunday.
this
So
is
it's like that for me
this
all the time. I receive guidance, I do things without asking why, and then I receive confirmation afterwards when
and
reading some kind of
yeah.
report. Mhm.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And this is documented because I said it because today's Tuesday. So yesterday was Monday. And I said on the show yesterday, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I keep getting all this information because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And specifically, one of the things that I told Elsa about was the belt of Orion. Those three stars,
Yeah.
they were showing me how they were lined with the pyramids. They were showing me how everything was set up. And I thought, oh, well, and it was really interesting because it was showing me how that was all programming, basically. Not in a bad way, not in a good way. I'm just saying that's the mechanics or the math or the science of how this is all set up. But the fact that you're saying that you had a session on Sunday and you got Orion, that's
Yeah.
just crazy.
And they no, the message was we talked a lot about the belt and with Mintaka and so on, but also there was this one star, because there are some stars that are more famous, no,
Right.
like the star that's really difficult for me to pronounce, Betelgeuse, I think.
Beetlejuice. Yes,
Betelgeuse.
because it's right there under that. And then
Yeah,
the one I'm
and it's
always,
really
yeah,
strong. It's a supernova,
yes.
strong.
Yeah, it's kind of reddish. And then there's
Yeah.
one directly above it on
Mm.
the other side that always speaks to me, called Aldebaran, which is
Yeah.
the eye of Taurus, looking
Yes.
at Pleiades. So that whole area to me fascinates me.
Yeah. And what they said was that there's one star that's always um, forgotten to be mentioned, that haven't received recognition, and that's Bellatrix, which is the other shoulder of
Yes,
Orion, and
yes,
it's
that's
a
right.
feminine star,
Yes,
and she
that's right.
needs to be recognized, and we need to speak about Bellatrix more. So this
Bellatrix.
is information that came through this Sunday, really interesting.
What about as everything is kind of progressing here and people are talking about the deconstruction of the matrix? Again, I don't think any of us have any clue as how deep this goes, because I think it's us that's being deconstructed, really. But in regard to the return of the divine feminine, of the mother goddess, we all know that that part of our makeup had been suppressed, even if you're a man. And you know that's been turned around. That And there's a lot of different narratives. One of the narratives is that the moon was brought over here. I've seen that by several credible people. I even had that intel come in a couple of years ago, didn't know what it was. Saw Mateus De Stefano talking about it, and later talked to Franco Di Nicola about it, and they said, yeah, that's how it happened. But that the moon was brought in, an artificial moon, it was positioned in a certain place through the geometries, through the math and all that, and the science, and that it was projecting a negative um, projection, which was many things, but the primary thing was to suppress the feminine power in all of us and in the realm. Have you received, and that's been turned off as of about 3 years ago, and now it only runs in our ego and it's fading away, something like that. That's one of the narratives. But have you received information when you do your sessions with people and when you connect with people or alone? Do you get collective information, or is it more personal?
I get collective information. Some parts of the stories, like the stories about, I say stories, the narratives about the moon, I haven't really got into it or received detailed explanations. I just know that I am more resonating with the sun personally. So
Right,
I'm
right.
drawn to the sun and the solar codes. So when I'm speaking light language, or it's more about the sun and the solar codes, and I'm not as much of a lunar person.
Yeah.
So I just have left it with that. But yeah, I do receive general information, and sometimes it's quite detailed, and sometimes it's more of visions, like prophetic visions,
Right,
that I receive.
right. Um, okay. But in terms of like, no, I'm not saying specific to the moon either. I'm just saying, does your intel speak to what I was talking about? In other words, does your intel uh say that we're turning this around, that the feminines come up and the true masculines coming up, and that there's a new energy of Trinity and sacred marriage within ourselves and then between each other? Does your
Yes,
intel speak to that?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
cool.
And it's really about nothing is going to stop the change right
Right.
now. We are in it, and it's about balance, balancing the polarities and balancing within ourselves. And uh, just as what I said about Orion. It's also about balancing the masculinity and the femininity
Right.
in that sense. And um, for us, I see that we are in kind of the transition years right now, and that the shift is really already happening. But I received this image today from my guides that,
Yeah.
you know, when something happens to a star, like the exploding stars, the supernovas, it takes a lot of time before we actually see it here because of the distance.
Right.
And it is a bit like that for us here right now. It's the energies have basically already shifted in the higher dimensions, but it takes time to let that change go into the denser densities where we are with the 4D and down to, it's a lot of 4D right now. We're not as much in 3D as we were before. So many
Yeah.
of us are not actually in 3D, we are in 4D and going back and forth between 4D and 5D. So, so it takes time. It's like
Right.
done.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And what would you say is, because I mean, most people when they talk about they talk about 3D and 5D, and I know it's hard to do this, but so 3D to me feels like, well, I think we can relate to that. It's where we were unconsciously creating things, giving our power away, blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. And then 5D, of course, well, we can conceptualize it. There's no forgiveness there; it's not needed. There's no suspicions there; they're not needed. I mean, there's just all these things that won't go with us. But in the middle is the fourth dimension,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have the answer. I'm just asking. This is why I love my job, because I get to find things out. But so you have time and space have been attached to the fourth dimension. Time is doing some really weird things the last year and a half, 2 years. Space is starting to do some weird things, at least in my experience in 2023, specifically, like leaving my body, being different places and going, what am I doing here? I'm still in my body. This flashes. So I can relate to that. But what would you say is the fourth dimension strictly time and space, or are there other elements of an astral nature that we can't see that tend to involve themselves with us?
Well, you could say that parts of the elemental worlds are 4D.
Okay.
So connecting with those it is mostly in 4D.
Okay.
I feel also that when there is a change within that, a lot of fear has been released. So you come with an intent basically from love, and you have your ups and downs and so on, but you are not pulled in different directions totally unconsciously. So you have a way of being in the world that is mostly from love,
Right.
but you don't truly create with the higher dimensional energies. You are not fully aligned with
Right.
your soul truth. So you're in this in between, and that is more what I think about the 4D. I remember how it felt being more in a three-dimensional conscious state. It was more about other feelings or fears, more focus on what other people are doing or thinking or reacting. And there is a more of a stable presence within. But as it is now, when I open up my connection. So it goes instantly right now. So I open up my connection, and then I have like a wider spectra of knowledge and possibilities and ideas, and it's totally fearless. It's just love and no fears, no worries. But I cannot be in that state all the time.
Right.
So
well, that makes sense.
It's going back and forth in that.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Now that makes sense to me. Like it makes sense to me that I'll just use myself as an example. Yeah. I'm not walking around in 3D. That's a frequency thing. That's a vibrational thing.
Yes.
Certain things come to me, certain things don't. Now, I think what you're saying, and I feel like I can relate to this. I'm mostly in 4D, popping my head into 5D. I'm not able to create yet at the 5D level, but I am able to start to recognize what it is and that it exists and that I can attune to it. And then I'm still working out, let's just say, the stresses of linear time. Yes. Like for instance, I'm trying to, have a project I'm working on, and I'm taking linear time out of it. I'm like, oh, I need to do this by the end of the month. I need to do this by the end of the week. No. It'll always be there. Just go when you're ready. So I can feel that part of it, which I guess is the path to creating in 5D, because there have been quite a few people that I think have credibility with the communities, and I won't get into all the names, but I've mentioned them before, but many of these people are pointing to March and April as being kind of a liftoff, yes, where these 5D masterpieces in creation.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah. But so that resonates with you, with what you have been told, or that we're going to start taking. Okay.
It will be a great. This is how it works for me. I get woof, like the energy when someone says something that's really true on a high level. Yes, so we will experience a takeoff this spring, March, April, and so. Sorry, I kind of lost it. It was some kind of information.
No, it's okay. But you were just talking about, it happens to me all the time. But but just the validation that with everything that's happened, I think especially toward the end of last year, you could feel it. I can not do everything that a lot of people can do, but I can read the field, especially with the show, which carries a lot of the energy of the world, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we start doing this, and you start have all the different people's coding involved that's watching on the replay or the live, there's a lot of information there. But I think toward the end of last year, there was a lot of I'm tired of this. I don't want to wait anymore. If we're going to do this, let's do it now. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off, and let's just bring all the dirty, evil, dark, whatever you want to bring out, so we can get on with it. And I really felt like that served as an accelerator, like it moved it faster. And then on the other side of it, because my wife has talked about this for over a year. Yes. Come March and April, we'll start building in the 5D, and I'm actually seeing it happen. So it's very nice to hear someone like you confirm that as well, because man, it's been a long road, and it's time to start making some sunshine.
Yeah. Well, I feel a bit that it's kind of not kind of. It's really fun to create in 5D energies, and it's really fun and meaningful to connect with the star families and all of this, and to bring people into that. But of course, there is a great longing to get everyone on board and to really do this and to really live these higher energies. So that feeling of, yes, let's go on now. This is happening, and wow, yeah. It was something about when last year I created this. I did an oracle card deck called the New Earth Portals, and I received that. I received a download to do that because the portals on Earth assist people around the world to, in a more accelerated phase or a great speed, more of a great speed, open up to really awake and to open up to the higher high frequency light, and just to get on with what you say, the critical the critical mass, or
Right.
yes. So it is really something that we are all in, and the elemental beings are working with us, and all these different galactics are working with us, and Gaia herself is working with us, so we will lift off.
Yeah.
And if everyone is doing their part and we are co-creating, even though we might not even know that we are co-creating,
Right.
It is happening. It is happening. And this spring is like this.
It sure feels that way to me. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. And so until 2024, 2025, I get that we will basically, I received the words that we won't recognize ourselves in 2025.
Yeah, I'm picking up on that, not from my own stuff, but from researching and just picking up different people, because I go to lots of different platforms to see what they're talking about, what's going on. But yeah, 2025. In fact, I saw one this morning, and I'm going to check this lady out. I saved her channel. I'd never seen her before. Young lady like you, probably 40-ish, and I guess she does a lot of forecast and channels and whatever. And she said somebody had asked her, "Will there be another? Who will be the next president?" And she said, "You're going to be shocked." So she turned on the video and she said, "There won't be." And it wasn't about the president. It was about the change.
Yeah.
And she said that Biden's the last one, because she said by 2025, she basically said the same thing. She said it'll be a totally different world. Now, at the same time this stuff is happening, I'd love to ask you about this. I'm noticing too in my research, which I know it's tied to algorithms and stuff like that, but I'm searching YouTube, Google, DuckDuckGo, Facebook, looking for these types of platforms to see what they're talking about. And I just want to say, I really love Soulogy because it's the only platform they talk to the people about the people. I know I'm biased and prejudiced, and I probably shouldn't have said that. That's my ego. But what I noticed is there is a massive amount of disclosure videos and stuff being put out there that would not have been allowed a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. No way. And not only are they coming out, and this has to do with Atlantis, it has to do with secret space, it has to do with underground bases, it has to do with all these things, right? And so number one, I'm going, why are they putting so much of this out there? That sounds to me like, everything's coming out, which we know it will. And the second thing that I am kind of wondering about, maybe you have an answer on some of this, how many people are awake? Because I'm turning on channels that I never thought people would be talking the way they are. They're saying we're in a great awakening. And we know they're trying to fool us, and we're the real power. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how many people are drinking this Kool-Aid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea at all?
I don't have a number. I'm not good with numbers actually, but we have presence here, all the guides, and they are just smiling about your question. And it's like there's so many more than you think.
I think so. Yeah.
Because besides all those who are on the platforms and they comment and so on, and who are visible, interested in all of these and all of these different parts, you have all those who are, but are very, very careful to show themselves.
Right.
By different reasons.
Yeah.
So you have a number on the planet who are awake in heart, but they won't tell it on the internet or somewhere else, or maybe they won't tell anyone they know, but they are. So you have a very, very, very large number who have an inner knowing that there is something changing right now, and that they have an inner knowing about that the world is changing, and the old ancient worlds like Atlantis, Lemuria, Mu, Hyperborea that I've been into lately.
Oh, we have to go. We have to talk about that.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite subjects. But go ahead, keep going.
Yes, so it's I see them as rising from within, or from within Earth, or from under the ocean. So it's about us seeing and knowing and acknowledging and connecting with more of who we are. Just as, the visions about the ships, landing.
Right.
I connect. I connect with the galactic energies etherically. I'm not much of the contact in the flesh thing. You don't want that. But I do see the ships, and I've been out in nature, and we have been groups, and we've spoken about, this is actually a landing strip for ships. And we have seen them, and we have seen the preparation of places where that's landing strips, or landing places.
That's over there in Sweden.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. To me, the Nordic countries. What happened? Something happened. I don't know where you went.
I'm here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh my God, what's crazy? I had a lady 2 days ago literally disappear. 3 days ago disappear on. I've had a lot of weird stuff happen on the show, but the lady 3 days ago, I can't remember her name right now, but she disappeared. I've had weird things happening, like, oh, did that happen? But she literally disappeared. She was lit like you. So yeah, I've always thought that, or understood or felt or knew that different parts of the world were seeded by different star families. Yeah. And the Nordic countries have always fascinated me because they're obviously high frequency. If you look at Sweden and Norway's, and there's something different about that area. And it just always seems very Nordic to me, or maybe Pleiadian. I don't know. Do you have any more kindred or more resonant connections galactically? Do you feel like that you're kind of connected to more than others?
Yeah, I think many are connecting with Pleiadian energies here. Also with Atlantis. Many in Sweden feel a connection or come through that. So they come through the interest of Atlantis, and the Pleiadians are kind of the first interaction or connection galactically.
Yeah.
But for me, I resonate with the Lyran energies very much. It was the Lyran star family who invited me into the language of light, the light language, and
wow.
how I could use that in healing and to transmit light codes. So the Lyrans are very close to me. But there are many different
That's
groups
funny.
and so on. But I do see that Atlantis, many here connect with, but also very much about the nature spirits and its
Right.
elementals and so on.
Yeah, me too. That's funny too, because that lady, what was her name? I can't remember her name, but she, right in the middle of it, she started doing light language, and when you can just tell when it's like, and it was the Lyrians and the lions. She called me a lion man. She was lion man. But yeah, the Lyrians, the Pleiadians, for me, the Syrians,
Yes,
of course, the
Arcturians.
Arcturians,
We were
even though,
up in the Arctic North, and that was when we saw the landing strips and the Arcturians. They were so much part of our experience there that at one point when I was going to bed one evening, I was there with a group, but when I was alone in my room and I was going to bed, I just had a feeling that if I had my eyes closed, and if I open my eyes now, I will have an Arcturian right in front of me, and I'm not sure I'm ready to see him. So I was like, could you tone yourself down a little bit? You're so large,
yeah,
because I felt how large he was. He was,
I've
they are
known,
tall.
yeah, obviously I've talked to a lot of people over the years. I have one friend, Chantel Renee, and she's very like you, right? And she told them early on, I don't want to see you. Because I asked her, have you seen it? No. And then, like, my wife's that way too, because when we're together, we connect every night, right? And I want to see him, and she doesn't. So we'll do the session, and she'll have the blanket over her head, and I'll be like this. But yeah, but there's been, I'm going to say again, the last week, I don't know, was it the end of the comet or what the heck was going on, because I know it was approaching Pleiades and then Aldebaran and then up into the belt of Orion. And then my friend told me that it had left today, I think was the day. I don't know what it is, but the amount of, I want to say that. I want to say the visibility and the presence of those things we're talking about have really, really been strong in the last week.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a really tall 7.5, 8 foot being, a white, white star family being, but I'd never seen one like it before. It was shaped just different.
Yeah.
I had some orbs. Then I had all these sounds going on, like, which didn't make any sense where I was at. And I'm feeling like that things are kind of bleeding together. Do you have any information on that? Do you think that more of us will start seeing elementals and such?
Yes. Firstly, I want to say that about the comet, that when it came in and around February 2nd, and when it was highlighted in media and so on, I asked within about the comet, and I just received a few words, but what they said several times was, it will have an impact. It will have an impact. And I interpreted it as energetically. It will have an impact energetically. So we will see a difference, or we will feel a difference. And maybe that's what you are talking about, with something has changed.
Well, I think it's many things, right? I mean, it's these people come on the show, and Judith Kuzel does a video 3 weeks ago about it. She doesn't normally do stuff like that. And she came on the show, she talked about it. Of course, this was the last time it came was 50,000 years ago, yet the Hopi and other tribes knew it was coming. And then I know for myself, I had personal transmissions that covered the comet, the Mesoamerican, like the Mayans and the Aztecs, the Anasazis, the Hopis, the Navajos, like this whole thing. And then there was like this connection to it looked like Sirius, blue planets, Arcturus. I don't know it all because I don't remember it all, but so there's that part of it, and people have been talking about this type of thing in their own way. And then you have the blast it seems like everybody went through in the last week or so. Let me ask you this, because I think this is also good for people that are new to this, I guess. Sometimes they look at people like you and they go, oh, she's got it all together, she can walk on water. But did you feel this energy of the last week or so? And when stuff like that happens, do you get triggered and imbalanced? And if you do, how do you get back to normal?
Well, I rarely get imbalanced physically, like many have these sort of ascension symptoms and bisolar flares, and so I don't have that as much. Though after this weekend, like yesterday, I felt that there was an energy that was really strong that made me a bit exhausted, actually. I was out walking with my dog and just a regular around the neighborhood, and I went up on a well, it's a hilly part, and I was kind of physically exhausted. I was so tired in my body, and this is not the typical me. This is not natural. This is something going on that makes me feel like this. So that was yesterday.
Yeah. And you're what?
It also felt that it was so strong, the energies over the weekend, and with the Orion energies that we had processed and transformed a lot of energies this Sunday. So it was a bit of the aftermath after that, I think, too. So about the question with if I have it all together, I think that I've been in this for quite some time, and I've healed a lot with my body, physically and emotionally, and so I don't feel triggered so much. But I have 3 children.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they are 6, 11, and 14. So I have
in the middle
my
of the
share.
ascension. Yeah, I was going to say in the middle of the ascension.
Yeah.
This always blows my mind. And we've had plenty of women come on here that have children at home. Yeah. And I always wonder, how I had 6 kids. I mean, I didn't raise them all by myself, but I was there a lot, and that's a lot. I can't even imagine it. But then the other part,
my youngest son, he's 6 now. So I got pregnant with him while working spiritually. So I had groups, and I channeled, and I did chanting and light language and all of that with him in my belly. And so he's been part. The earlier 2, I wasn't that active at that part. So it was different when Oscar came. But so for me, it's like I need to go back and forth, and I need to do all this, logistics, and I need to have the linear time frame because of everything that is around the family.
Yes,
of course. With times and school and their activities and all of that, and they have their wishes, and they want what they want to do, and so on. So for me, it's like a grounding. It's a grounding. Right. I need to go and be the mother. I need to go and do things, and I need to jump from the healing session and into the car to go get my daughter at her handball.
Isn't that crazy? Well, one of the things that people have talked about has been their children, and the signs that they're showing, you know, that they're bringing in, the coding they're bringing in, the awareness they're bringing in. And we've heard lots of different stories. I mean, really fascinating stories. Mary Rodwell's told us many stories, and then we've had a lot of people come on here as well. Do your kids ever give you any clue that they know something's going on? Or do they just think mom's a white witch?
Well, I would say that they are very different from each other. So they are both. I mean, my middle son, for him, it's very natural. He loves crystals. It's very natural to when I give him healing, and he can speak about that, and he's drawn. It's very, he's 11, so it's just obvious. This speaking about portals, they have all the Marvel movies and anime and everything, and it's actually, and I watch sometimes with them, and I realize that they speak a lot about what we speak about, but just in another language. It's like the language that they can relate to. But they also have this very grounded, my daughter is very grounded. She's athletic, and so she's okay with what I'm doing, but she's not a mystic yet.
Yeah. I think, it's funny because mine will, like, it's like you said about people, like when you made that comment about the number of people that are awake, and I'm looking at the YouTube, and there's 68 people on there, but there's only 3 people talking in the chat. So I've always been very aware that there's a lot of people watching, but they can't say they're watching. You know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, getting back to that, like that, and I think that's what I hear from the most from these parents is these kids know, but they don't talk the same language. They just kind of know. Yeah. Right. And so a lot of them don't fit. Like my 2 youngest, 21 and 22, both girls, they won't conform. And they're very different, but they're both the same when it comes to, that's not good for my soul. I'm not doing it. Yeah. I'm just not going to do it. And
so they're very true to heart.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. They don't care. They have totally different lifestyles, yet they carry the same, what would you call that? The same confidence, I guess, and courage to be themselves at the risk of whatever.
That's
it's pretty cool.
Awesome. That's really beautiful that they can feel so confident in. And that's actually what I see in the children now too, that they are not afraid to say if there's something that they don't like.
Right. So yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have this truth, and it can be very different. I mean, but I see, and I also see when my children meet their cousins, and they are 5 of them, and they are kind of shining a light, all of them, when they are together. Yeah. Because it's like I see it's like meeting soul family. They are actually cousins, but then they don't need to relate to all these different energies that's out there, and they can just be themselves in that safe space. And it's beautiful to see, because since the energies that's going on in the world is so diverse, and it's kind of pointing in all these different directions, so it's kind of exhausting for many children right now to figure out what is going on, and what is for me and not, and to be discerning at a very early age. And that's challenging for children right now.
Yeah. I would love to get together with you again, later in the year if you're open to it. But yeah, because we got a late start because we had tech problems over here, and thank you for your patience. But is there anything that you want to do before we go? Like, I mean, do you want to sing a song or do a dance or channel? But I mean, is there anything? Because
Yeah,
I don't
I would
want.
love to share some light language and some toning.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
I just love to do that, spontaneously, like just tuning in on your community and just tuning in on the energies right now. Okay, so. Zuafatutakenetiki, haitutotavatatatatakanatiki, atatawatia, atatakortaki, anatakapotakia. Zuhafuatanaketi, atakovatakatatakantaketi, atoka. Sihavuafantekea. Lahia no tokavataki, atokovatakantatakatakatiki, otakavataka. Chua, via, no tokai, tai. Huatanakai, takai. Thank you.
Wow, it's always amazing to me when somebody comes and shares and it's so original and unique. It's.
Thank you.
Yeah, you must have I think as much galactic as you have in you, you've definitely got to have some elemental fairy in you. You've got that when you go into it, you can see it. It almost like comes into you. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that. Wow, that was beautiful. Yeah. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Was that a specific type of message, or do you know when that happens? You don't know. You just.
Sometimes I know. Yeah. Sometimes I just allow the transmission to come, the codes, and for the exact moment, so it never sounds the same. Sometimes it comes as a message. It was a message right when I finished. I heard this message, and it was directed to you that you're doing a good job.
That
was weird. For you.
Right now, right? You're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you two questions. That's weird. I wasn't going to say anything because it's happened on the show before, which was understandable. But normally they say something, but you didn't say anything. And I was like getting it. I'm like, are they talking to me? So my question is, do you see your guides in third eye?
You mean visually, like seeing them?
Third eye, yeah.
Not right now.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Sometimes.
Do your guides all have different colors?
Sometimes I see, but I often see them as collectives, like they're coming like diamond light, a group of diamond light.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, but I've seen them more in detail. Sometimes someone has entered, like when I'm sitting down in meditation, it's like a really very detailed presence. Right. And then it because of a purpose that I need to see him or her.
Right, right.
Mm.
Yeah, I think when I saw what I saw and I heard what I heard, they didn't look like beans. I just saw all these vertical rays,
Mhm.
and they were all different colors,
Yeah.
right? And they almost looked like, I think they were actually like a triangle. Like they
Yeah.
would stand in front of me and they were like a triangle, and
Mhm.
they were like pillars, but I knew they were
Mm.
beans. I knew they
Mm.
were beans, and they were speaking with one voice,
Yes.
if that makes
The
sense. Yeah. So
collective, like the pillars of light, a
mhm.
group, they present themselves as my council of light.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. That's interesting too, because I've been going 2 or 3 nights this week. I've tried. I haven't succeeded to go back to this original monad,
Yeah.
which I've been there before with Morgan,
Mm.
and for some reason I've been getting this urge, go ask to stand before them, like to get information or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, this is great. Yeah, I'm really happy for that message, because sometimes you need it. And
Yeah, I know.
today's a day that I needed it, because I'm like, what the
Mm.
hell am I doing? I'm just gonna quit
Yeah.
everything. I go live on the beach, until this whole damn thing is over. But
Yeah.
it was
Well, they
it was
say you're doing a good job.
thank you. I appreciate
Mm.
that. It
Mm.
was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. I'm sorry about the tech issues.
Oh,
I would love to get together with you again later in the year. And I just want to tell you, thank you again, and all blessings to you and your beautiful
thank
family.
you. It's
And
been an honor. It's been a lot of fun to connect. And thank you so
yeah,
much for everything you do.
thank you. You have a
Okay.
nice day. Peace out.
You too.
We'll be
Okay.
back in 9 minutes with somebody else.